Hey YouTube, welcome back to Metabrook 135 Media, the place where ideas connect. I'm Mike Rogers, CPA, also known online as Millennial Mike. Welcome to Crypto Fairytales number 2, the DAO Republic. Crypto Fairytales series frame and disclosure. Crypto Fairytales is a short satire series about a recurring pattern, stories getting promoted as systems. No names, no targets, no allegations. Just archetypes, incentives, and the moment a real question hits a soft room. Satire and educational commentary, not financial advice. Trilogy note: the Blank Band trilogy is a three-part satire series. Crypto Fairy Tale 1, the token that explained too much. Crypto Fairy Tale 2, the DAO Republic. Crypto Fairy Tale 3, the Blank Band. One lens across the arc, descriptive, not a checklist, and fictional. Crypto Fairy Tale number 1. In fiction, stories may outpace mechanisms. Crypto Fairy Tale number 2. In fiction, procedure may outpace implementation. Crypto Fairy Tale number 3. In fiction, records may help clarify stories and procedures. All characters and scenes are composite and fictional. Satire and educational commentary only. Not financial, legal, investment, or tax advice. Not about any specific firm or project. Curtain up. Curtain up. They called it the season after the question. The question did not die. It simply moved. After the question, the kingdom did not answer it. It redesigned the room. Not a rebuttal, a republic. New banners, new channels, new rituals. Vote held like a mirror, so everyone could see alignment looking back. Soft Mirror Kingdom liked mirrors. Glass walls, blue torches, stage lit flame, a castle built like a stage. Not for living, for being seen. This time, the stage had a new sign above the door. The DAO Republic. Reminder, keep it constructive. The bard arrived early, cheerful as ever, and pinned a note that read like kindness and set the tone. Reminder, keep it constructive. The court gathered tile by tile. The court gathered like it always did, tile by tile. The high priest of vision appeared, laser eyed, warm with reassurance, in this story, as in so many rooms. Family, he said, using the word as ritual. We heard you, he said, and it landed like governance. This is what the future looks like, he said, and the torches flickered like they agreed. Founder mode joined next, smiling like a man who could turn any sharp edge into semantics. Love the discourse, he said. Powerful reminder that clarity is a choice. He paused, letting the sentence land like it had answered something. Let's zoom out, he said. High agency teams don't get stuck in details. The tokenomics wizard hovered nearby, ready with a diagram and a blessing. The steward watched the runway. The builder stared at the terminal. The architect stared at the system map and felt tired in his bones. And the gatekeeper watched the controls like a man watching a door few discuss openly. Somewhere in the back, where the applause meter struggled to reach, the domain practitioner did not type GM. He did not need to. His question was already in the room. Act 1, the declaration. Act 1, the declaration. The bard spoke like a narrator and operator, the kind of voice that makes ceremony feel like process. Welcome to the Republic, he said. We have moved from kingdoms to communities, from decrees to governance, from gatekeeping to participation. He clicked to a slide titled Governance. Governance. It was clean, it was modern, it was a promise in a rectangle. The high priest nodded solemnly. Decentralization is a spectrum, he said, in a way that can substitute for specificity. The crowd clapped because clapping kept the mood steady. The bard held up a lantern. Not a real lantern, a digital one. A vote lantern. He explained the rituals like liturgy. Procedure: ceremonies, checklists, labels, working groups, community calls, forums, threads, reactions, a calendar full of participation. The Republic did not run on violence. It ran on procedure, or at least the appearance of procedure. Act 2: The Rituals. Act 2: The Rituals. The rituals came one after another, the way modern legitimacy likes to arrive. A temperature check, held like a pulse. A delegate call, recorded as proof. A forum post pinned like law. A community sync, where questions were acknowledged and then routed elsewhere. The community manager floated through it, all like a flight attendant with authority. Hey, friend, she said, smiling tightly. Let's keep it positive. We keep the channel orderly here. Constructive only. Reminder, keep it constructive. The pinned reminder stayed at the top like a crown. Reminder, keep it clean language. Onlookers watched from the edge of the room, hungry for clean language. They loved the word republic. It fit in a headline box. They loved the word community. It sounded like innocence. They loved the word vote. It sounded like legitimacy. A result was recorded. The bard announced the main event with a flourish. Democracy in action, he said, which can sound like enough. The vote opened. Some voted. The bard took a screenshot of the results and posted with the neatness of a certificate. A result was recorded. Headline, narrative, and closure. The crowd exhaled. A result was recorded, and fewer people asked about the plumbing. The result produced a headline. The headline produced a narrative. The narrative produced a feeling of closure. No one mentioned turnout. The steward watched the runway shrink 1 inch. The builder watched little change in the workstream. The architect watched the system map remain the same. The gatekeeper watched the surface appear unchanged. The jester bridge. And the jester watched the Republic become, sometimes, a new costume for familiar geometry. Act 3, the routing. Act 3, the routing. Implementation can happen where the vote didn't. The vote happened on stage. Implementation can happen elsewhere. Somewhere, another room met off stage. Somewhere, process moved. Some called it progress. Others used different words. Somewhere, an emergency was described as a safeguard. Somewhere, an exception was mentioned. Somewhere, a pathway was mentioned. The bard kept the room moving. Great engagement, he said. The high priest kept the room soft. We're learning together, he said. Founder mode kept the room above the details. We're building in public, he said. Don't confuse process with perfection. The domain practitioner watched the ceremony and asked the question that mattered. Not as an accusation, but as structure. So who can change it? A few friendly laughs. Ha 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 ha. Fair question. Different room. Contingency and safeguards. The gatekeeper cleared his throat. Few people welcomed the gatekeeper because he asked questions with consequences. Well, he said carefully, there may be a contingency procedure. It's for safety. The torches flickered. Blue flame. Stage lit. Uncertain. The domain practitioner did not raise his voice. Who can activate the safeguards? The high priest smiled like a teacher. Decentralization is a spectrum, he said again. Founder mode nodded approvingly. Safety matters. The architect looked down and saw the problem in a single line. A republic can record a result, but often only someone positioned to implement can carry out the result. Implementation is the reality. The builder imagined a change landing that the room did not discuss. Not a dramatic change, a small change. A low visibility update. The kind of change that doesn't move headlines. The kind of change that changes behavior. Act 4, the whisper. Act 4, the whisper. The next community call began like the last one. A welcome, a vibe, a ritual. Then the steward mentioned a small upgrade. Bard smiled. Love that. Onlookers leaned in. Progress, they thought. The domain practitioner did not smile. He said it gently. Where's that written? The proposal passed, the bard said, already gesturing toward the forum. A result was recorded. The domain practitioner nodded once. That's preference. Silence. Cricket, 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 cricket. He continued, calm as a check sum. The contract is the specification. The vote is the interface. He looked at the room. Follow the log. FTL. Where's what actually happened? No one answered. Not because they were evil, because the room was not built for that kind of question. Then someone else spoke. Not a famous voice. A tired engineer with eyes like logs. He did not preach. He just said, follow the log. He didn't abbreviate it. He let it be plain. Follow the log. Some observers heard it and did what culture does when something might spread. They made it smaller. FTL. 3 letters. FTL. A shorthand in side chats. FTL. A quiet test that did not need ceremony. The community manager reacted quickly. Let's not spiral. Keep it constructive. But the refrain persisted. FTL is not a vibe. It is a test. Act 5, the band. Act 5, the band. That night, the architect drew something on a private screen. 5 nodes, thin lines, a blank band across the middle. He showed it to the builder. This, he said, is the part nobody wants to fill. The builder stared. So, who can change what? The gatekeeper answered without looking up. Permission maps, upgrade rights, keyholder attestations, change histories. The steward swallowed. The jester smiled, just barely. The domain practitioner stood in the dark and understood something quietly. In Softmere Kingdom, a republic can survive criticism. It may struggle to survive a record everyone agrees to examine. The bard posted one last message. Great call tonight. Love the energy. Keep building. The pinned reminder stayed at the top. Reminder. Keep it constructive. FTL closeout. And somewhere beneath it, beneath the applause, beneath the slogans, beneath the recorded results, the refrain continued to spread. FTL. A result was recorded. The record was not. Postscript, a neutral structure lens. This is a neutral lens, not advice. A simple question. Can the mechanism be described without leaning on token, chain, or roadmap? If documenting structure, evidence can include contract terms, governance terms, change rights. Satire lens, in plain language. If incentives appear to do most of the work before the mechanism can stand alone, narratives become a weak substitute for evaluation. Stories can personify structure. Structure should discipline stories. Educational commentary and satire only, not financial advice, not about any specific firm or project. Sign off. This was Crypto Fairy Tale number 2, the DAO Republic. The next once upon a time curtain rises when it is meant to be. Written by Mike Rogers, CPA, at Millennial Mike 7. All the internet's indeed a stage. Disclosure. Crypto Fairy Tales is a creative satire series blending artistic expression with commentary on technology, incentives, governance, and culture. All characters, scenes, and organizations are composite and fictional. Any resemblance to real individuals, companies, or events is purely coincidental. Nothing herein constitutes financial, investment, legal, tax, or accounting advice. Views are solely those of the author and do not represent any affiliated entity. Copyright 2026, Crypto Fairy Tales. Satire and educational commentary, not financial advice. Thank you for joining us at Meadowbrook 135 Media, the place where ideas connect.